Greetings and salutations, my fellow Americans. Today I'm building a hutch for my wife's desk. Now, I already built the frame and I already built or cut up most of the pieces I need. I just thought the video would be much shorter if you didn't have to watch every single thing I built. This is the frame. This is going to be the top to my wife's hutch. I'm going to set that down here. I used miter cuts and I went over that in the last unsuccessful video when I built that shelf. That wasn't quite what I wanted, but there it is. So, this top is a little bit crooked. You probably won't be able to see it in camera, but it's a little bit, it's not quite sitting perfectly. It wobbles, as you can see there. I don't have all the joints perfectly right. So I'm going to attempt to put the top on so that hopefully it straightens this bow out. We'll see. All right, let's get started. One of the things I learned while building this is how to do, I bought a new tool to recess my screws. And it was like $10 at one of the big box stores. I'm going to start over here, drilling pilot holes. Okay, and the end of this drill bit has a special auger that widens the very top of the hole, depending on how deep you go. You could go very deep if you want to. You have to, there's no stop on it, so you got to do it on your own. All right, I have a quick release, and I'm gonna choose my driver. I've been putting all the driving bits and things that I'm using currently in the tray of this drill, container, so that I can easily find the bits and bobs that I need for the current project I'm working on. Okay. So I've got some screws set up over here. Let's do our first screw. A good friend of mine, I was having trouble with the wood cracking, and he was telling me that drilling with creating a, what do you call it, creating the relief on the top, the spot will keep me from splitting the wood, because it is because it keeps the head of the screw from going into the wood. So yes, hopefully that does the trick. The only problem I got here is some of these screws are going too far, are not holding up well. Might need to put a smaller shaft on the end of this recess thing. See if I can do that. Okay, let me go find. It's underneath the stand here. Ah, there it is. Allen wrench. I'll find the right Allen wrench. There we go. Supposedly is removable. We'll find out soon. Okay, here we go. Let's see if this does the trick. Oh, too far, of course. Don't you hate it when you go too far? Ah. Anyways, there we go. Now, let's get this loosened a little more, but not too far or it's going to fall out and then we have an issue there too. Oh, for crying out loud. Yep. Guess we have to take it all the way. And now it's stuck. Okay, well, this is typical whenever I work on something. That's why it is called the Crappy Carpenter, or it will be. Let's see. At least you can't see me grabbing the tools, but I'm getting tools right off my bench here. About ready to stop this idea. What good is this if you can't take it off? Well, I don't know where to go from there. This was supposed to come off the thing, off the bit. That's exactly why I bought it, so I could use another bit on it. But it seems to be totally seized on here. Could use larger screws, but that just seems a little bit too a waste to hold on with the huge screws. But on the other hand, I think that's what I'm kind of left with here. I'll have to figure this one out later. It's got to be a way to get it off, maybe with PB Blaster or some, other stuff. Let's first remove these screws. These tiny screws were going to be perfect, but the way things go. Let's just try those bigger screws instead then and see what happens. All right. Back into the little tray there, which you probably can't see from here. Let's try a bigger screw. Way too much screw. But it's in there, and it's never coming off. All right. Well, that's secure all right. Yeah, since I made a hole for one. There we go. Okay. Let's try a few more. I love these quick connects. I lost most of the pieces to this one. But this new bit works with it. Not sure if you can see the depressions it makes, but it makes just a slight offset so that the screw hole doesn't force itself into the wood, thereby splitting the wood. Probably could go a little further away. It's a 2x4 thickness, so we've got an inch or two. This thing down a little more. Make sure my hand is off the trigger, or I'm going to end up spinning this thing out of my hand and hurting myself. Okay. That's tight. There, that's tight. A little bit. Good. Am I having an issue here? We're not quite matching up, which, typical. Let me double check. I don't know if it moved. Yeah, joy. That's what happens when you don't match your pattern first. Or something's a little off. Yep, this is why I'm not that good. It's not why, but I mean, it's a... Yep. Okay, let's try to realign this slightly so that it's not completely off, a little bit off in the back. Well, we're still going to be off, but maybe it won't be as noticeable this way. Oh. to. Let's get in the corner here. It helps if you're drilling in the right direction. Yep, that always helps. Okay, I'm going to put a screw here. In. Okay. I'll put a screw here. In. That one's in a little better. Okay, I'll probably have to redo that first one, just because. Okay, that looks weird. Well, we'll see. Before it cracks it, I stop. I don't want to go too far in, which I went a little far in. I'm going to have to redo that one slightly. Good enough. All right. Let's take out the two that I'm not happy with. Never hurts to continue to make it better, even if you have to redo your work. I don't want it won't be perfect, but it doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt to try to make it less crappy. Of course, you're trying to make it less crappy. Might end up making it more crappy. But as long as you try, what does it matter if it works or not? I mean, if the product isn't perfect but it holds together, that's good enough. Being my first piece of real furniture, I built a desk before. It was just a 4x4 frame. It's real similar to the frame I used on the saw table. But I want this one to be a little bit, it has to be a little bit more accurate so that everything fits together to make a decent hutch and it's not all warped and everything. We'll see. So far this is not looking great. But we'll see. If this doesn't work, I'll have to take it apart and start all over again. And that's par for the course. But even people who are really good at this took years to get that good. that works. Putting in an awful lot of screws, but that's because this top, the frame itself is slightly warped at this point in time. So I'm trying to unwarp it by using this board, this plywood, which really isn't real thick. But maybe it's thick enough. We'll see. I've never done this before. So well, it's in there, that's for sure. And the tightest top so far. Of course, you probably can't see it on camera, but it's got some bow to it. It's not perfect. But if I can get it to straighten out a little bit, just enough so everything fits together. Yeah, this got a lot more tighter tolerances than the things I built before. There we go. I mean, we're not done, but I got some more. Don't want to go too far or I'll bust through the wood, and that would be bad too. Too fast either. If you go too fast, you end up splitting the wood. I've split the wood a lot lately. Okay. Yeah, there's a split there. I don't know if that was there before I started drilling. Probably not. But it's, you know, it's minor. And this is going to be the top of the hutch. Well, no one will be able to see the top. Or they shouldn't. It'll be pretty high up there. But I want it to look as good as possible. This is a piece of furniture for my wife. I'm going to build her a desk next. Well, first I'm going to redo my table, which, if you watch that video with a double oligo in itself, and if you didn't see the video, basically, the table itself was for the saw that I wanted to store it. Even when I built the shelf, it doesn't fit in between the supports. It would fit on the shelf, but to get it inside underneath the table, it just won't fit. So I'm gonna have to move the supports, which will give me like an extra 6 inches or more. But when I do that, I'm just going to take the table apart and put wheels on it. And to do that, I'll have to make it shorter. Well, I don't have to make it shorter, but I'll explain that later. You can't even see what I'm doing right now. Maybe we'll temporarily bring you this way. Yeah, there we go. You won't be able to see me, but maybe that's good. That's probably good for most people. That's enough holes there. Yeah, hopefully that'll do. I don't want to use 1,000,000 screws, just 500,000. And boy, does this make a difference. Before I remembered that I had a quick connect, it was taking me like 10 minutes. To switch out these stupid things. Oh, ridiculous. So far, these are recessed pretty well. Which is awesome, since I've just started learn how to do this. There we go. And it's not helping with the bend any. Ah, poop. That's what I was afraid of. We'll see if I'm going to have to redo this or not later. If I had a thicker piece of plywood, maybe it would have helped. But it's still like it was. Well, that's it for today, guys. That's it for now. I will get back to you in the next video to see if that was acceptable, or in the next video you'll watch me tear it apart and do it all over again. And that's why I like to call this segment the Crappy Carpenter, because I don't have enough practice at this, even though I've been playing with wood for a while. Still got a lot to learn. So, until later, live long and prosper. Goodbye. Good night. Phasers on stun. Kurt out.